Hey all, so we're going to do a bit of a tier list today, the armies, but I thought we'd make it a bit fun, and I thought what I'd do is I would use my old tier list that I made back at the very start of 3rd edition for the one-page rule subreddit, and we'd just have a sticky beak at it, and see if I've made any new discoveries, which I definitely have, but yeah, you know, a bit deeper in 3rd edition. Alright, so here's my original tier list. I can alter it, of course. We've got a whole bunch of armies here. We've got them all the flavors. So I have actually played everyone now, so that's good news. Except for Goblin Reclaimers, which I'll put down here. I'll use a bit of video magic to edit that in. Also, we do have a couple of the old symbols here. I am looking at updating the symbols, but for now we're just going to use this tier list because this is the tier list that I used originally. Let's talk about what each tier is. So, not played, obviously, no crap, right? D tier is for fully... C tier and D tier are pretty much the same tier, but I am separating them out. D tier is armies that are pretty much fully baked, but aren't very good. C tier is for armies that aren't fully done, or I would recommend as a detachment for another army. Then they're probably never going to actually get done, but they are detachments. B obviously is, the army's pretty average across the board. They're not great at anything in particular, but they're not terrible either. And then A tier obviously is that they're good at a lot of things, and that they're generally strong at one thing. S tier is that they're generally strong at all of the things. And yeah, that's pretty much how we're gonna sort of move forward for that one. So first, let's go from the bottom up. So we've got the Wormhole Demons. I'm gonna put them in B tier, all of them. If I have to give sort of an advantage to one, I'm probably gonna put. We will shuffle these around at the end. I would go War, then Change. Then Lust and Plague are about the same. The Putrid, good ability. Lust obviously is speed, which is always nice, but I just don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they particularly excel either. They're a good army. They're decent, but I think they're a little bit too squishy. Even their big guys, they got tough, but they don't really hold up super well to punishment, in my personal opinion. I don't think they're bad. I actually enjoy playing them. And the difference between S and D tier is very close. If I was to get really pedantic, it'd be S plus, S minus, A, and then like maybe A minus, pretty much, as far as it goes. But, someone's got to be at the bottom, and that's how it works. Alright, so we've got the Watch Brothers, so the regular Watch Brothers here, they are in C tier. If you take a detachment of their their Destroyers, if you take a detachment of their Destroyers or one of their other guys, yeah, they're great as a detachment. But as a full army, they're just way too underbaked. There's not enough there. And if you try to use them as a full army, they just have no staying power, basically. In my personal opinion, what you're meant to do is you're meant to take them as detachment units for the other factions, basically. And they'd be fine in other Battle Brothers, or if you put them with Human Defense Force, or whatever, So they're good at that, but C overall. Watch Prime Brothers. So the Prime Brothers are going to be getting an overhaul sort of on the list. A big one, in fact. Watch Prime Brothers basically are everything that the regular Watch Brothers want to be. They have full-size units, they get Purge, they're pretty much just better Prime. And so for that, I'm going to put them in high A tier. Watch Brothers. Then we've got Machine Cults. Oh boy, poor Machine Cults. Here's the thing, though. I am actually going to move them up to C. I don't think they're quite there yet. They definitely need some enhancements. They are definitely a fully fledged army. You can certainly play with them. They've got good abilities. They just can't really take full advantage of them. I really would like to see them sort of come out and really hit, because I think mechanical humans are really cool. But yeah, I can't really rank them to B because I just don't think they're there yet, but I will honorarily up them to C because they are making strides forward, so good for them. Okay, so I might just move Orc Brothers up here because we're going to shuffle these around. Okay, so then we've got Titan Lords. Titan Lords are another unit that I think is great as a detachment. Really, you take one Titan with your army and that's fine, but the problem is I've got to value them based on their army. And as an army, they're D tier. I'm sorry. Like, they are really strong. I'm not arguing that Titans can't do a lot of damage, and they are very, very hard to kill, because a lot of them can get regeneration. So it's just really hard to actually take them down. But, you know, they've got a weakness. You can take an army full of deadly weapons if you know you're going up against Titan Lords. And yes, they can regenerate some of those wounds that the deadly weapons cause. But it's still a really good strategy. You just take a whole bunch of deadly weapons and you just hit them constantly. And then you take a whole bunch of really cheap units and just run them around the field. If the Titans kill them, fine. But, you know, meanwhile, they're season objectives. And that's really the aim of the game, is to get the action economy and seize objectives. And Titan Lords can't do either, really. Even on the best of days, when I've played against them, because I haven't personally played them, but I've played against them, they're hard to deal with, but you don't have to deal with them. You can just avoid them. So yeah, that's it for Titan Lords. Sorry, guys. Ratman Clans. Okay, so they're staying where they are. Yeah, I mean, I like them. They're a cool army. They haven't really seen much in the way of updates. Sorry. So, I mean, they're definitely, they're not fully baked yet. Right, I can't pull the cheesecake out of the oven and go, hey, let's cut a slice of it. I've got to wait until it's finished baking, and that's where I'm at with Ratman Clans. You know, they've got a lot of cool stuff, tunneling, like sort of like rat swarm abilities and stuff like that. And their magic's actually kind of cool, but yeah, they're where they are at the moment. Human Inquisition, also staying where they are. You take this guy as a detachment. You know, you take a Inquisition with a squad, like an Inquisition leader with a squad, and you get access to their magic, great. Or you take the Assassins. That's it. And even then, I don't even think the Assassins in Grimdark Future are very good. In Warhammer, it makes a lot of sense because the Assassins are terrifying. But in this particular climate, I just don't think the Assassins really give you enough oomph. And you're also taking up a hero slot when you do this. Which, if you're playing the regular size game of 2,000 points, you don't really have enough wiggle room to... I'd much rather take another leader. An Inquisitor, sure. An Assassin, no. And then Elven Jesters are pretty much the same thing. As an army, they've got like 7 units, I think. Actually, I think it's 6. They got 6, yes. 6, 5 troops and a transport and a vehicle. And 3 of them are crap. Like, 3 of them you just don't want to take. No, sorry, 2 of them are complete garbage. 2 are decent. You've got, like, 2 good ones. And, yeah, that's it. And then their leader, you've got a good leader and a leader. I would personally put these in an army with other elves. Or, you know, you could possibly do Lust Demons or Lust Brothers. And at that point, you know, they can sort of keep up and they can do some extra work. I think that's what they're meant to be used for, is to sort of assist additional armies. As an army by themselves, if I have to take them... If I have to take the last 3 armies by themselves... I'm not including the rats, sorry. But if I have to take Inquisition and Jesters by themselves, they're D tier. They're terrible. But you take them as detachments. I just don't see why you do any others. Hey, Soul Snatchers. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they should be good, I think. But they're not. You know, they take a lot of units from Human Defense Force, and they've got some Alien Hive stuff in there. But the problem is that they just don't... They don't have enough DNA of either of them, ironically. You know, The Soul Snatchers are a good unit, but they're not that great as the unit. And the Human Defense Force has some good units, but only really when they are able to be Human Defense Force. These guys just don't do either very well. They could be more of a C, but I think the army does have... I think they're more fleshed out than the Ratman, personally, but... You know, that sort of thing. As I said, C and D are pretty close together. Like, they're pretty interchangeable. But I just think Soul Snatchers, yeah, just... They don't have enough going for them. I just sort of feel like they're an underpowered version of Alien Hives and Human Defense Force. So, that's about it. Rebel Guerrillas. Rebel Guerrillas are staying where they are. I think they are good. They have a lot of ambush, which is great, which makes me kind of want to put them up in A, but... They just, they're like Human Defense Force light, basically. They do have some stuff that Human Defense Force don't have, but it's not stuff that makes them stand out enough, in my opinion. I think they are good. I think I definitely think they can definitely hang in A tier. I'd probably, if I was going to put them somewhere, I would probably put them up. Well, I'd probably put them somewhere up around here. Sort of like in this tier area, but we'll tier everyone out once it's done. But yeah, so yeah, cool concept. I do like them. I actually really enjoyed playing them, but yeah, they just don't have quite enough oomph, really. So Jackals are also in about the same camp as Rebel Guerrillas. They've got some really cool units, and they've got some really cool upgrades. Their sort of I hide in terrain upgrade is pretty good. -2 to hit, as long as someone's outside 12 inches. Charge ammo is interesting, but it really, once again, like with charged ammo, you sort of jump in and you shoot once. Like you ambush in, you shoot once, and that's it. Your charged ammo is done. It can be devastating on the first turn, but the problem is that they're hitting on 5s a lot of the time. I do like Carnivore. I think Carnivore is a pretty cool extra rule. Yeah, like that. But I think B. I think if they had a few more elite troops that sort of really gave them a bit of a, they'd be probably higher. But you know, B tier is not bad. B tier is fine. Most armies are in B tier, so you know that's all good. Then we've got our buddies, the Infected Colonies. Now, I haven't played these a ton, but I do like the idea of it. It's basically like Resident Evil meets Human Defense Force. Like, legitimately, they have tyrants and hunters. So it's cool for that kind of aspect. I do like them. They have the undead rule, which is, you know, a bit of a for me, but that's fine. I do think that they're definitely staying in B tier. I don't think they super excel at anything, but they're not bad at anything either. So that's sort of where I'm at. They've got some interesting special rules, but yeah. Dark Elves, Dark Elf Raiders. Yeah, I'm A tier, I think. We'll just pop them in at the bottom at the moment. Yeah, I think that Dark Elf Raiders I've really come around on. I just think that they're a lot better than I first thought. Poison, like, against Chaff armies, the Chaff army is screwed. Because, like, almost every guy can get poisoned. Also, their gene stuff can be pretty good. You can get some really nice anti-armor units out of them. The only downside, I'd say, is sort of like their core sort of army just really can't deal with highly armored stuff. That's about the downside. But they've got tanks, they've got their gene soldiers, they've got monsters and stuff like that that can all help deal with armored units. So I think, yeah, definitely put them up a tier. I think they've come along. So it's either that I just think that they're a bit better now, or they have actually been buffed. There's been buffs all the way through. Buffs and nerfs going on all over the place for the last... since I did this list, so yeah. Custodians. I don't know where to put these guys. I put them in B because they were kind of terrifying to deal with, but in hindsight, I don't think they're that good. don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in close combat. I don't want anyone in close combat with a unit of Custodians. Ever. They just absolutely get murdered. There's no one that murders things quite like a Custodian in close combat, right? And if we were taking it purely on how dangerous a unit is, Custodians would be S tier. Like, Custodians would be S tier all the way up. But the problem is, we've got to take into account season objectives and whether or not you get hard countered by certain tactics. Custodians, even with regeneration, are very weak to just being hit with deadly weapons. And they can't really hold a lot of ground. Like, you can get sisters to help them, and that will bring their action economy up, which is good, but then the sisters have almost no customization. They can take Aegis, basically, as a faction-wide ability. So on a 6, they ignore a wound, unless it's a spell wound, which is a 2+. That's basically all they have. Otherwise, they are sort of stuck. And also, Custodians really don't have a great way for dealing with chaff armies, really. Like, they can, but they're really more meant to be sort of like a counter for elite armies. But then, at the same point, they have the issue of they just don't take up enough board space. They are a complete army, though. That's sort of where I'm at. Like, I'm between C and D at this point. Because I think if you take a unit of Custodians as a sort of detachment, yeah, oh boy, nice. But if you try and use them as an army, I feel like sisters are very underwhelming, and I feel like you can't just stack the army full of Custodians because you lose on actions, basically. Alright, yeah, no, I've got to make a choice. I think I'm going to pop them into D. But I reckon they're probably at the top of D, really, realistically. I know that it's not going to make some people happy. People weren't happy when I put them in B the first time around, and now I've knocked them down to D. Pretty much I have a rule. If it has less than 8 overall units, it's definitely meant to be a detachment, in my opinion. Or if it's got less than 8 overall unique units. So, like, for example, Inquisition, I think, has a few more, but several of them are Human Defense Force. So, yeah, I gotta knock it down. They just don't have enough action economy. You can build a decent action economy army, but then you're stuck with sisters that only really do one job each. They only really cover one area each. And then on the same point there, like, say you're up against a chaff army and you take Persecution Sisters. Well, in that particular scenario, you can only take 3 units of them. Yeah, maybe if you're playing 4,000 points, I think they're better as detachments. You know what? I'm gonna pop them up to C. Yeah, they're better as a detachment than they are as an actual army. So I'm going to take it based solely on that. But I didn't do that with Titan Lords either. Yeah, okay, no, they have to go back down to D. Sorry. Yeah, okay, great. Orc Marauders. Yeah, they're still B. Orc Marauders can be really strong. They can be. Like, to the point, on a good day, I'd put Orcs in A, maybe even below S. The problem is that they're very swingy. In close combat, they're pretty good, but they've got a lot of chaff units that just don't hold up. Their boss units are great. Anything that you can give shooty or extra shooty to, terrifying. Particularly extra shooty with shock cannons. Oh boy, does that hurt. Like, does that make people sad when you do that? So yeah, in that scenario, I definitely feel that Orc Marauders can be really strong, but then you've got to really be able to nail them, basically. So that's why I'm going to leave them in B. I think really I'd probably maybe put their strength up into A, but I think they're inconsistent in that strength, and that's why I'm going to leave them in B. Yep. Regular Havoc Brothers. Yeah, I'm going to leave them in B. You know, they're fine. Their action economy is alright. You know, they don't get quite as much oomph out of it as regular Battle Brothers do, I've sort of found. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't think they get quite as much oomph as regular Battle Brothers, so they're staying where they are. Okay. So then we've got Night Brothers, Dark Brothers, and Battle Brothers together. Well, I can just sort of cross the battle. Well, let's just talk about Battle Brothers, and then we can go into more detail on the other two. Yeah, so Battle Brothers, once again, same sort of rank as Havoc Brothers. I will say they're slightly above that because they all get Fearless, which I think is a much stronger ability. But that being said, Havocs get Cultists, which are a crap unit, but you know, you can use them to clog objectives and stuff like that. So one half dozen of another, basically. one of one, half dozen of another. You know, so yeah, Fearless is a strong ability though. They have a lot of variety. They have a lot of really nice ways that they can approach situations, which is good. Which kind of makes me want to put them up into an A, but I also don't think they really overly excel at certain situations either. It really depends on how you build your Battle Brother army to where they'll end up, which is why I think they're a B. I think they're also not insanely difficult to counter for a lot of higher tier armies either. All you gotta do is get, say, a couple of AP2 weapons going, even AP1 weapons on Battle Brothers, and they can go down real fast. And then the issue with that is that they're expensive comparatively to a lot of other armies. They're not as expensive as Prime Brothers, but Prime Brothers get an extra point of armor, which does actually make a difference. So, but they do get more weapons than Prime Brothers. So, yeah, it's sort of... I still think B. Dark Brothers are staying in the same rank, but I am actually going to move them up one spot. They are better than regular Battle Brothers. Oh, actually, maybe they're not. No, actually, I'm going to put them back down. Yeah. So, there's two factors that make Dark Brothers simultaneously better and worse than regular Battle Brothers. The first thing is Dark Assault, which their destroyers get, which means they can ambush first turn. So they can basically, on their first turn, they can choose to ambush right on turn one. So this is pretty good, honestly. This is a good ability. But it's situationally good. If you don't win first turn initiative, you know, if you can't find a good position for those destroyers, they're just going to get murdered, like, before they even get to act. Secondly, they better hit a unit of equal or greater value even if you win initiative and do enough damage to be considered good, because they will be taking a crap ton of, like, reverse murdering, basically. So, yeah, I mean, in theory, it's good. I mean, if you have a whole entire army of destroyers, maybe, yeah, but I still don't think that's enough. And I also think that if someone figures out that you're going to blitz them and go, and it's like, oh, what are you playing? Dark Brothers? Oh, yeah. What's your units? Pretty much destroyers. It's like, okay. I'm going to be taking a lot of fusion guns this game. And you might be thinking, well, people can't really change it that easy on the fly. They absolutely can with the app. It's simply just... And then your option is to rebuild your whole entire army list. So, yeah. And then Grim, I just think, is a flat downgrade from Fearless. I don't like Grim as an ability. I don't really like Robot Undead and all them as that sort of ability. I think they're going to cause more casualties than they'll save. It doesn't really matter on things like that have undead, because a lot of times things that have undead, they've either got a lot of wounds or there's a lot of models. So losing a couple of extra guys to basically attrition saves to pass a leadership check, yeah. But Dark Brothers and Prime Dark Brothers cannot afford to be just having units drop dead because they flubbed in a leadership check. So, yeah, I think that's where that's about it. Night Brothers is just a flat-out upgrade on Battle Brothers. Not enough to really push them into A tier, but they have Aegis, 6+ save, 2+ on spell damage. Otherwise, they're identical. repeat what I did here. We got Dark Prime Brothers. They are going to stay where they are. That's it. I'll cover Prime Brothers when we get up to them, which they will be. They will be being maneuvered. Actually, they're already alright. So anyway, we got Dark Elves. Okay, so we got Lust, Havoc. Yeah, I mean, Lust Havoc is better because it just moves faster. Change also just better because they can stack their army full of casters. Otherwise, same thing as the Havoc Brothers, basically. So War and Plague here, I'm actually going to, because while we're here, I'm just going to do them. Plague, I'm actually going to downgrade to below change. You can still get Putrid and stack it with regen, which is great, but that's basically all they've got. War will be going above change, that's for sure. So we'll just pop them back down there, but I don't think they're S tier anymore. Yeah, I just don't think they're S tier anymore. Hey, Saurian Starhost. I think I'm going to have to move them down. I don't like it. I really don't. I actually really like Saurian Starhost. I think they're cool, but they're just going to go in B. They just... Gators, great. They're big lizards, like they're big dinosaurs, great. Even geckos, for what you get for them, are actually pretty good. But their main core, and even then, like when I say geckos are pretty good for what you get, they're still not that great. But their main core, their sort of Saurian main core units, just they don't seem to get that much done for some reason. I don't know how I'd make them better. Maybe give the Saurians regen. Maybe make Predator a more attractive ability. I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely B tier. Sorry, Saurians, I love yous, but my first army I ever played was Saurian Starhost because I just thought they were freaking awesome. I still think they are, but they're just not an A tier material guy. They're B now. That's it. Hey, Human Defense Force, they're going up. Human Defense Force is extremely strong. They've got a lot of chaff, but they've got some really nice elite units. Their tanks are great. They've got a lot of buffing abilities. They're a Swiss Army knife. They've got things for every situation. I really can't complain about how good they are. Honestly, I can't. They're fantastic. So, no, yeah, I'm good on that. Knight. Why did I put Knight below regular Prime? Well, let's talk about regular Prime, and then I'll shuffle a few of these around. So, regular Prime Brothers. Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought I had these guys in S tier, but they're definitely, I think they're A tier overall. Maybe regular Prime might be like at the top of B tier. I'd probably put him at the bottom of A, honestly. They're good because they got high armor. They have raiders and infiltrators to make up for the action economy, and they generally don't end up that far behind. And having Prime Brothers in a piece of terrain shooting at someone, those guys are so hard to actually dislodge from that terrain. I had dwarves with shotguns at one point, and I shot into a group of these guys in a piece of terrain, and I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. It didn't help that they were also knights. So they got their 6+ saves, which I actually managed to wound one of them, and they rolled a 6. So, yeah, they're just really hard to deal with. Also, raiders are horribly overpowered for what they are. No joke, they're probably one of the best units in that army. On paper, they look crap. 3+ save, quality 4, but they can ambush. They've got some really decent weapons on ambush. And you give them a raider leader and you give them War Chant, and these guys are basically just walloping you. And, they're like one of the cheapest units, and really, they put the pain on. You definitely want to have other units to assist them. You don't want to make an army of raiders. That would be crazy. But if you took like 3 units of raiders and then just got like, say like 3 units of really decent troops, it would be really hard to dislodge that. I mean, obviously you wouldn't be able to put a leader with every raider group, but yeah, I think these guys are still A tier. I just think that they're a lower A tier. They lost a lot of their versatility, and there's only like about 3 or 4 units that can ambush, and there's no way to give them ambush. Battle Brothers have a drop pod, which lets you pretty much ambush anything. Primes don't have that. They've basically got raiders, and they've got anyone with a jump pack. So there's about 3, maybe 4 units that can ambush, and ambushing is important in my personal opinion. So yeah, we'll shuffle them around. Night Brothers definitely are above them. Okay, so but let's go back. So we got DAO and Eternal Dynasty. So DAO is going down a tier. They're not bad. Like, they've got some good stuff, but I just feel like I've never really seen them make a huge, gigantic impact in any games they've been in. They've got some stuff that is dangerous, but the problem is that a lot of their units just are like, I don't really know quite what else to say about them. The marker light, the marker thing's good, but that's not even a flat ability. I mean, good shot is basically a faction ability, and yeah, I mean, outside of their suits, I just don't feel like their core army is that great. They just don't have like absolutely amazing weapon variety. So yeah, yep, that's pretty much where I'm at with them. I think if you teamed them up with another army that had a bit more close combat, and that's the other thing, is they really don't do close combat. They do have some guys who are okay at it, but one of the major issues is that you can get ambushed in your back line, and if that unit is good at close combat, it's going to be hard to get rid of that pesky bastard. Then we have Eternal Dynasties, the sister faction to DAO, and they're staying A tier. They got Fearless, all of them, which is a strong thing to have, and they just have better variety. Like they've still got their sort of suits. They got Onis and a few other things, and those guys can do a lot of damage. But they've also got some close combat guys that can be nasty little bastards if you let them sort of get that thing going. So yeah, Eternal Dynasty is staying boom right where they are. I'd probably just leave them there completely. I think they're just a solid A tier choice for an army. Then we got our Prime, we got our Knights, we got our Wolf Brothers. Yeah, I mean, definitely A tier. Wolf Brothers are nasty. Any wolf guys are nasty, basically. They've got their whole entire army as counterattack, so if you charge them, they hit you first. And all you gotta do is just sort of give the sergeant a decent close combat weapon, and you charge them, and suddenly half your squad's dead. And you're like, oh, jeez. So, yeah, they can basically stack, they can take a whole bunch of ranged units, and then just take a sergeant with, or put a leader in the squad with a good weapon, and they'll probably, kill 4 people in that squad. And since most squads are 5 people, yeah, fun times. So otherwise, they're pretty much the same as any other Battle Brother. And then we have the last one that I'm talking about in A tier, because I put this guy back up here. And we're absolutely going to be going S tier with Alien Hives now. So when I first talked about them, they really focused on close combat. They had some ranged options, but now they've sort of rounded out. They've got they're still really strong at close combat, but they've got some nice range options as well, which helps. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't suggest putting a ranged army out of them, but I think they may be the unequivocal kings of close combat now. So, awesome. That's pretty much where we're at with those guys. Okay, so we're finally finishing up with S tier. So we've got Wolf Prime Brothers. Do I want to leave them in S tier, or are they going to the top of A? I think the thing is, I'd love to leave them here, but all three of these brother factions need to go down the tier into A. Yes, yeah. Dwarf Guilds may also be joining them. Yeah, I think they will. No, they will be joining them. So we'll just... But I'll have a chat about it. Okay, so Prime Wolf and Blood Brothers. Actually, I can probably just talk about these in general terms. Prime Wolf, obviously, I just think that Prime are better than regular, so that's why they're above. Blood Brothers, all Blood Brothers, so both Prime and regular, have Furious as their special rule. All of them have Furious. This makes them terrifying. And what you can do is with Bloods is you can team them up with Watch. So what you can do is you can have an insanely ridiculous murdering set of close combat units, and then you can take either regular Watch destroyers, or you can take Prime Watch whatevers and just use them as your ranged option. And like a lot of stuff is close range, but oh boy will that hurt. So, but we're not gonna take them based on that. I still think they're both probably ahead. I am gonna say that I'm gonna put Wolf above them though, because simply in a general sense, these guys are stronger, but these guys just hard counter Blood. you can't get any ground at all. Hey, let's get back into S. Robot Legions. They got a fairly decent downgrade, but they're still S tier. They just slow is bad to have, but on the units that have slow, it's normally that important. Their jump packs now give them swift, so you don't have to waste a slot getting rid of slow on your close combat units anymore. And the Tri-Scorpions always ignored slow anyway. So yeah, and you can still sack regeneration on them, which makes them just very hard to dislodge. So I am absolutely under the opinion that they're still S tier. They're just not the king of S tier anymore. Because I would have probably argued... I'm pretty sure when I did this, I said that Blessed Sisters, High Elf Fleets, and Robot Legions were all pretty equal at the time, which I still would say at that point I agree with, but right now I think Robot Legions have definitely taken a bit of a step back on that particular scenario. Then we're going to... Whoa, hold on there, Tex. So, I am what we might call in Australia a complete dickhead. I forgot to talk about dwarves in the actual video. So this is Future Vams here, so let's have a quick chat about dwarves. So dwarves are just a really solid overall army. They've got a lot of really nice options to deal with things. They've got very high AP weapons. They've got beam and magma as weapon abilities. The only downside is that they are all slow, except for their tanks, of course. Even their berserkers are slow, so they're dedicated close combat units. And you have to spend an ability to give them haste. Now, dwarves do have a spell that increases their movement, which is nice, but it's only on 2 units. So, yeah, they do have a lot of ambush, which is really great, and they even have an ambush tank, which, of course, is just brilliant. But overall, just a really solid army. I find that they tend to like sort of close-range shooting more than anything else. Their iron shotguns are terrifying. So overall, a great little army, but not quite S tier. To talk about Blessed Sisters, yeah, they're still S tier. Devout and the ability of them being able to move around, give a lot of their units stealth. They can just suddenly pop up out of nowhere and bang, 15 heavy flamethrower hits. Not many armies go, yeah, maybe like, maybe Titan Lords, because at that point you're only hitting them once. But yeah, any chaff armies, oh boy no. Any close combat armies, they don't really want to be, like, you want to be able to get into that range. Like, you want to be able to hit the sisters, not end up in their range instead. And they're just good. Like, they are just really a solid unit. The only downside is they only have one strategy. The issue with that is that even if you know that's their strategy, it's hard to actually mount a counterattack. Because what they do is they give units that will be moving up the field stealth with their leaders. So it's hard to nail them. And then their other units are stuck in transports and they just fly up the field. Their transports are sturdy, so it's hard to kill them in one turn. And then their sisters with their flamethrowers just jump out and just start burning the crap out of you. And they've got ambush potential, which can be absolutely terrifying. Because their ambush potential can be anti-armor, it can be anti-infantry, they can go close combat with a few of them. Yeah, they're just a really strong faction overall. And then finally, High Elf Fleets at the top of the tier list. I still feel like this is pretty much accurate. High Elf Fleets have got a couple nerfs since here. Stingers in particular, my bros, they got absolutely murdered in a nerf. Not really, they're still very good at killing chaff, but they used to be a pretty good all-round close combat unit. Now they're basically only for chaff. If you want a decent all-round close combat unit, you take Revenants. But yeah, so S tier, pretty strong. Yeah, they've just got a tool for everything. If you know who you're fighting, you can roughly guesstimate what they're going to be taking. You can pretty much build an army to absolutely counter them. I like the core units of Retributors. You take a double unit of them with a leader, and you're talking 27 rending shots. Helicopter! You're talking 27 rending shots. It is crazy, and like very few things hold up to that much firepower. They can absolutely roll chaff armies with it. They can absolutely roll elite armies with it. And even something like their, I think they're called Defenders. Oh, like they are crap, but dear God, if they get within 12 inches of you, you're going to feel that. You know? And so that's pretty much it. They got a tool for every job, and their tool is generally better than yours. That's the problem, right? You don't want to get into a tool measuring competition with the High Elf Fleets, because they have a bigger one. And if you really want to be scummy, take a whole bunch of shifters and just absolutely watch your enemy's army melt into absolute nothingness. So yeah, now that we've sort of gone through the tier list, I can sort of reorganize it. I'm actually pretty happy with D tier. C tier, I'll probably put Ratman above, I think. Otherwise, yeah, those three are pretty close. I'd probably say Machine Cults is at the top of the list. They're fine. Actually, do I want to move these guys up? This way, I'm sort of at a bit of a sticky beak. I think I'll move these guys probably above here. Yeah, Wormhole Demons. I don't think they deserve to be last in B tier. Saurians, Orcs, yeah, but I'm trying to figure out. I'd probably put Jackals below them. I'd probably also look at getting War probably coming up to near the top. Change, I'd also probably move up. Actually, yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll do this. I think the Rebel Guerrillas could be better, but I do think that the Infected Colonies are probably worse, which means Rebel Guerrillas above Infected Colonies. Orcs are pretty happy staying where they are. Havoc. I think Havoc moves up. These two are pretty even. Those two definitely... Okay, so here's where I'm at. I would rather play as all three of these than this, and I'd rather play as this. So I think I'm going to have to put Prime Darks down further. Yep. No, yeah, okay, yep, cool. And then Saurians at the top of B. Yeah, I'll leave them there. Dwarves, I think, honestly need to go up further. I actually think they're probably... I'd probably put them, like, here. Yeah. Dark Elf Fleets. Alright, so I think I'm going to move Plague down into B tier. I think they're above there. Lust, I think I'm going to keep in A tier. Yeah, for sure. I think they keep there, though. Actually, I think I'd rather take Dark Elves over them. Yep. War can move up just under Blood Brothers, I think, even though I'd probably say they're roughly the same. Change, I'd probably put with Knights, I think. So above regular Prime. No, that seems a bit weird. Yeah, no, I think I put Change there. Yeah. Yes. No, actually, I'll put Change, I think. No, I'm happy to Change there. Yeah. Eternal Dynasty, I think, are better than regular Prime Brothers. And I think they're slightly above Knights too, but I'd put them below there. Watch, War, Blood, Wolf, yeah. And then up here, I think I'm going to have to put Alien Hives up a couple. And I think Human Defense Force, I think is... because the thing is that these guys I could see an argument as kind of like an A+ tier. But Blessed Sisters, I think, are definitely still S tier. They may only have like one really strong strategy, but it is incredibly strong in their hands. You can't, even if you know it's coming, it's hard to counter. Human Defense Force has got way too much customization to just ignore them. Alien Hives, why they specialize in close combat, they've got a lot of chaff and they've got a lot of decent range options. So I think they have the Human Defense Force beat, not by much, but just. And then I think High Elf Fleet still has everyone beat. Whenever I play High Elf Fleets, I kind of feel like I'm cheating a little bit. Like, it sort of does feel that way, because it's just like, who am I playing against? It doesn't matter. Right? It just doesn't. Like, pick an army and I will pretty much... The only time I think it's been really bad is if someone picks, say, something like Havoc Brothers and then just use Demons and Cultists. Because... But even then, I mean, I'm probably going to have some terrifying units anyway. But obviously they wouldn't be quite as efficient as if I had built them to take out Demons and Cultists. So yeah, that's where we're at with the tier list. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Goblin Reclaimers, at some point I will play and we'll chuck them on the list. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy with how we're sort of looking on this particular one. So you guys have a good one and I'll catch you next time. See yous.